Patricia Gibson.
And it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and I'm delighted to be speaking in this debate, and I'd like to extend my thanks to the honourable member for Orkney and Shetland for bringing this important debate forward. This is an issue which causes myself and too many of my constituents too much frustration. Whole swathes of my constituency are excluded from the so-called digital revolution, since Superfast Broadband remains a pipe dream, something you hear about, something you may even dream of, but which you are yet to partake of the delights. The situation has been improving across Scotland, not least due to the concerted efforts and the determined efforts of the Scottish Government. But statistics that talk of 83%, modest as that is, of Scotland having superfast broadband means nothing to those who do not have this luxury. And luxury it is. And it's certainly viewed that way by those living in more remote areas. Indeed, if you live in a remote area, such statistics make your own lack of access to superfast broadband all the worse, as though you and your community's challenges are being mocked by the progress, modest as it is elsewhere. However, I would point out that 83% of Scotland does now have access to superfast broadband, but Scotland is being left behind, as the figure for the UK is 89%. The gap is narrowing, but make no mistake, there is an unmistakable and identifiable gap. In my own constituency of North Ayrshire and Arran, the commitment for 100% superfast broadband by 2021 from the Scottish Government is welcomed, and rural Scotland is impatient for it. But it really was a great missed opportunity when the UK Government rejected SNP proposals in the Digital Economy Bill, which would have required the Secretary of State to introduce a broadband voucher scheme to allow an end user to access broadband other than that supplied by the provider of the Universal Service Order under Part 2 of the Communications Act 2003. And I know that a consultation by the UK Government has been announced on this, and I welcome this wholeheartedly. This would provide a replacement for the previous UK Government broadband connection voucher scheme, which ran from 2013 to 2015, and encourage small and medium-sized businesses to take up superfast broadband, helping over 40,000 such enterprises. Our businesses in rural areas rely on good, reliable broadband connections, and there is still so much to be done. We have made progress, but as many of my constituents would testify, we are not there yet. Digital connectivity is an integral part of economic development. For a modern, thriving, successful economic future, we need first-class digital infrastructure. Superfast broadband is about growing our economy and economic opportunities. It's about connecting people. It's about social inclusion. It's about empowering our young people, the next generation. First-class digital infrastructure is required to keep all parts of our economy competitive and thriving in a global market, and that must include our rural areas. And I'm tempted at this juncture, Mr Chair, to speak about mobile signals, but time forbids me. But suffice to say that on the island of Arran, there are huge areas of not spots, which is simply not good enough. I want to turn for a moment to the UK Government's, what I believe is the UK Government's lack of foresight in this matter. Rural mobile connectivity is suffering and struggling because successive UK Westminster governments have seen the licensing of mobile spectrum as a cash cow and a way of making money, rather than as critical infrastructure and something that is absolutely essential for our communities and indeed our whole country. The only criteria, it seems, that was considered when the 3G and 4G spectrum was auctioned was raising large sums of money.
The honourable lady could wait.
I'll just finish my point and then I'll take the honourable gentleman. Little consideration, it seems, was given to how great the coverage could be and should be. How is it that the German government required 98% of coverage, but the UK settled for 95%? Greater funds was traded off for lesser coverage, and that has had the effect of whole swathes of the country, whole swathes of my constituency and constituents missing out, and it's simply not good enough. And I'll take the honourable gentleman's point.
It's a simple matter of fact. The Ofcom auction was conducted on the basis that it wouldn't be based on how much money could be raised. It was solely based on conducting the most efficient auction. Raising money was specifically excluded.
what I would ask the honourable gentleman, perhaps if he gets an opportunity to speak later on, to explain is why the German government succeeded where the UK government appeared to fail. Scots have access to a 4G signal in only 50.4% of the time, suffering some of the lowest access to mobile data in general. And as of December 2015, nearly half of Scotland's landmass had no data coverage whatsoever, compared with only 13% of the UK as a whole. That's simply not on, and I'm keen to hear today what the Minister thinks of those statistics. And I want to hear what reassurances the Minister can give to my constituents in North Ayrshire and Arran, who are so poorly served in this so-called digital revolution. What reassurances he can give to all the people across Scotland who are so poorly served, which affects their ability to connect with people, their ability to study, and their ability to run their businesses as effectively and completely as they would like. Scotland lives and competes in a global environment, and all parts of Scotland need to be part of that digital revolution to compete properly. And I'm looking forward to hearing what the Minister will say today to my constituents to show that he understands that.